do have the 5 topics to get to, but first, we actually have a very quick round of breaking news. So about 30 minutes ago, roughly 30 minutes ago, it was revealed by Jake Paul, who of course fights this weekend on Showtime pay. Oh no, excuse me, next weekend. I'm sorry, not this coming one, but the following. So in about 2 weeks, Jake Paul fights on Showtime pay-per-view. It was supposed to be against Tommy Fury. Jake Paul has announced Tommy Fury has an injury, and Tyron Woodley has stepped in. Now, he put out a message on social media about it. We actually have the video. Let's roll it, and then we'll react to it.
It's official. Tommy Fury is boxing's biggest bitch. He has pulled out of the fight. The Furies have pulled out of the fight due to a medical condition. Who knows what the fuck is going on in that camp? I think he has a bad case of bursitis. I couldn't believe the news at first. It still doesn't even seem real. He fumbled the biggest bag of his life. Now he will be watching at home, paying me $60 instead of getting paid millions of dollars to fight me. I fought with a broken nose. I fought sick. Get the fuck over it. This is boxing. It's official. He was scared. I think the pressure got to him. The shit talk got to him. That's the bad news, guys. The good news is that Mr. Tyron Woodley, we called him up. We were like, hey, you want to take the fight? He has been training. He goes, sure, I'll take the fight. Let's do the rematch. Run it back. I'm giving him $500,000 extra if he can knock me out. Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley 2. Leave no doubt. I didn't knock him out the first time. I'm coming back, and I'm getting that crazy W, the crazy highlight reel knockout. December 18th, the show must go on. I'll see you guys there. It is official. Tommy Fury is boxing's biggest. Pulled out
All right,
of the fight.
so there you have it.
BC,
your reaction.
Medical condition.
Jake, you could probably get a little tinsel, maybe some ornaments on that Christmas tree behind you. But here's the deal.
A little one note, that tree, right?
Yeah, a little bit one-dimensional. Here's the deal, though. This is obviously rough news. We wanted to see Tommy Fury involved, the big personality, his brother Tyson Fury. But as far as late replacements go on 2-week notice, kind of fired up for this, Luke. Let me say it like this. We remember their first fight in October in Cleveland. It was pretty exciting. It ended up being an 8-round split decision. Maybe had Jake Paul, when he got hit with that right hand in the 4th round and he stumbled into the ropes, the referee could have ruled that a knockdown. You wonder how much that would have skewed the scoring of the fight. My point, their first fight was very competitive, although both acted more as boxers than fighters. I think you have to believe that Tyron Woodley, who didn't think he was going to get this rematch, has spent a lot of time rewatching that first fight, realizing how close he was. Maybe had he put on a little bit more pressure, you've already got Jake Paul guaranteeing a knockout. I think we see a lot more action. This is going to be a very interesting on short notice, since Jake Paul has not been preparing for Tyron Woodley exactly what this fight could look like. We know Woodley's been ringside at a bunch of different fights the last few weeks. We know he's in shape and ready. This could get interesting, Luke.
What would make you believe that you would actually, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just asking you to flesh it out a little bit. What would make you believe that you would see more action this time? I guess I'm not sure I understand that argument.
Tyron Woodley was more focused in his pro debut in that first fight in October on making sure he had the stamina to go 8 rounds so he didn't end up costing himself due to fatigue and end up getting stopped. I think there were key moments where he had Jake Paul hurt and could have either getting the edge on the scorecards by being more active or maybe even put some extra punches on him to drop him or stop him. I think Woodley, when you look back on that, he was much more competitive than a lot of us maybe assumed he would be given his lack of specific boxing experience and the fact that Jake was the bigger, younger guy. I think if you're Tyron Woodley, you go, I get on my bicycle, I make sure I have the cardio, and I let my hands go. I think he feels he can get to Jake Paul's chin. And again, I think we're going to see fireworks. Sometimes, Luke, you see an exciting first fight, you see the rematch be a little bit more tactical. I can feel the inversion in this one coming.
Well, I got to say, the fact that there was a bit of a life after the first fight in terms of the controversy and the tattoo and everything else is servicing this reality quite well, because Fury's out. I guess my understanding is, we got a phone call about this yesterday to sort of, give us a heads up on this. My understanding, Fury's been out for a few days. So, like, if it's about a 2-week window in which he's been pulled out, I don't know who they could have gotten as a replacement that would have done more for the fight itself than Tyron Woodley, right? They had the first fight, then they had this kind of after-fight life where it was maybe he's going to fight him again, maybe he's not, and then he ultimately doesn't. I have sort of mixed feelings about this one. On the one hand, I'm kind of excited about it because I think some of the points you raise are pretty good. I don't know commercially what this will mean because everything is switching on a dime. That does change the equation a little bit, and some people were left with a bit of a sour taste in their mouth the first time around. That's a little, Yeah, a little bit of that actually was around. At the same time, though, you have to, if you're Jake Paul, you have to like your chances here. You tasted everything Tyron more or less had to offer the first time around. You should be more than ready the second time. I guess I'm actually thinking that Jake might do a little bit more here. Am I off on that one?
Look, when Tyron Woodley let his hands go, he had success in that first fight. He overcame the reach and size advantage in the youth, and his right hand seemed to be the biggest weapon of the fight. Now, credit to Jake. He boxed well. He stood behind his jab, and I had him close but comfortably ahead at the end of those 8 rounds. But it was a very close fight. One judge had it in favor of Woodley. Woodley already knows he can hurt Paul. The only difference there was I don't think Woodley believed in his cardio enough to let those hands go. If I'm Tyron Woodley, I'm not thinking about a decision in this rematch. I'm thinking about cutting this 8-round fight into maybe a 4-round preparation mentally and make this a brawl and a war. Tyron Woodley has much more hand-to-hand combat experience, as we know overall, than a Jake Paul, who's very new to the boxing game, although he has adjusted nicely in terms of being able to control the level of competition he's faced. Tyron Woodley, though, the better athlete, Luke, the better history in fighting, I feel like he has much more room to gain and grow in his performance from the first one than even Jake does.
Yeah, the only thing that still kind of makes me wonder about it all, again, I don't know what else Jake Paul was supposed to do. It's either call it off and then reschedule with Fury down the road, or just make this happen on schedule and see what you can do. And in that sense, Tyron Woodley's probably by far the best option with regards to that. The only thing is Tyron has just sort of, remember what Dan Hardy was calling him, the frozen one instead of the chosen one? Because he's still in that fight, even the UFC fight subsequent to it, but also the Jake Paul boxing match. There were just times where he did not throw and did not throw and did not throw. We keep expecting him to not do that. We keep expecting him to throw more.
Well, look,
to me, this let me finish. This is real quickly. This is why I go back. I think Jake actually is the one that has more adjustments to make here, which is good news for him because he is the younger one. He should be the, I don't know if the better athlete, but maybe the quicker one or the one with the better boxing timing anyway. It's up to him, I think, to raise the bar on this.
Well, I'm going to be fair. I agree with that sentiment because I think the moment that Jake tasted the best of Tyron Woodley's power, and that was in the 4th round when he got rocked and nearly dropped, that he got a little bit more safer in the second half of that fight and looked a little bit more to box and just kind of control with that jab from the outside. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but the prevailing theory, I went back and read my recap from the first fight for CBS Sports. The prevailing message was, hey, if you're Tyron Woodley, you're going to look back on this fight years from now and say, okay, I got a payday to close my UFC career, but I left other amounts of money on the table. Even with Tyron Woodley's recent failure to launch, failure to let his hands go in some of these fights, which has brought into question, is he physically in huge decline, or is it maybe a little bit more mental? Is there a blockage there? This is a gift for Tyron Woodley to get this rematch. He did go the length of getting that tattoo on his middle finger to try to secure it. That whole bit was a little comical on both ends, to be fair. But this is a gift for him that this fight fell apart. He wants to continue on in boxing and make some more paydays. Luke, I don't know how he can go into this 2-week camp and not be thinking one thing: knock this guy out, leave no doubt. And in that regard, that raises the potential for entertainment value. They promoted the heck out of this first fight using bad blood and trash talk, but I think we saw enough of a appetizer the first time around to believe that both guys have a lot of reason to go out there and not mess around to end this fight. So we'll see if Tyron Woodley can create some new life for his brand here and try to derail everything Jake's done, because it's always pressure on the A side, who accepts the last-minute opponent, to try to keep everything going and keep the fight, keep the show going. I give Jake credit for that. But Tyron Woodley's got a chance to be a very dangerous B-side here. I hope he takes advantage of that.
Yeah, 2 more thoughts on this, and I guess we can move along. This actually might, again, Tommy Fury was a better opponent given where Jake Paul is at this stage of his career, right? Because he already beaten Tyron. Again, I know that he tried to make a claim that this was controversial the first time, the scoring. I did not find the scoring to be controversial. I thought that Jake had won cleanly. But what I will say is, there might be an argument, and I guess we'll have to see what the returns look like, but there might be an argument that this is actually better for sales in a certain respect, which is to say Tyron is probably going to be better at grabbing the MMA audience's attention than Tommy Fury might be. That's somewhat debatable, I suppose, but I think there actually might be some merit to that. The other thing we should keep in mind, we're sitting here saying like, oh, Jake could raise the bar, Tyron could raise the bar. They could both lower the bar too. We have to acknowledge that there is a real possibility that both guys, in the sense of Tyron having these ongoing problems pulling the trigger, and with Jake, he doesn't want to fuck this up at all. Both might retreat to an even more boring normal, or to a safe place to make sure that they guide through these waters, which can be challenging. Again, late notices are always dicey.
Is the sky falling too, Chicken Little? I mean, come on. God,
No, dude. You cannot go into a fight. You cannot go into a last-minute replacement and be like, oh, this is clearly always going to be a scenario where both guys give more. In fact, it is even just as likely where both guys could give less.
This is Tyron Woodley's last chance to be in something big that matters with this many eyes and this.
That doesn't mean jack shit. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean a damn thing, dude.
If I'm Woodley, Luke, I'm not. He didn't have a jab the first time around. I'm not jabbing. I'm not looking to box. I'm not looking to win rounds. I'm looking to fight this guy. See what happens.
Dude, why hasn't he done that the last 4 fights then? I mean, it's not like this is something he's been able to solve. It's been an ongoing problem. Listen, I'm not declaring that that's the way that will go, but we've seen these exhibition fights. This is a pro contest, but we've seen these kind of YouTube-generated fights, whatever you want to call this at this point, and sometimes they're good, but a lot of times they're a little bit ho-hum. This one with the late notice, I'm just saying it's hard to know exactly what to expect. The scenarios you present, I in no way can say that that's wrong, but I also don't want to get out in front of our skis and be like, oh, this is going to be better than the first one. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what these guys
tell
produce.
Us there's a good chance that your microphone probably hasn't been working this whole show and you've been talking in silence. But I don't sit by waiting for that to fall apart.
You've heard me, and that's all that matters.
Saturday, relive the epic clash between Tank Davis and Isak Cruz. Then, the spotlight shines on the Filipino Flash, Nonito Donaire, as he defends his title.
Can Donaire dance with destiny one more time?
But undefeated Raymart Gabalio wants to score the biggest win of his career. It's an action-packed night of boxing on Showtime.